Yeah, we spoke in previous years, right? That the challenge is now after you hit the highest point that's shaykh to hit Matan Torah and Gili Elokus, from Mamad Ar Sinai, like where do you go from there? It's like see, well, there's nowhere to go but down, right? So the as we pointed out in previous years, it's very interesting halacha, that on Harabais, where the Beis Hamikdash stood. So we're not allowed to go up there ad hayom hazeh because of the kedusha of the Beis Hamikdash that was there. Right? All right, but as glorious as the Beis Hamikdash was, it was nothing compared to the Gilui Elokus of Mamad Ar Sinai. Pure revealed divinity. There'll never be an event like that for the rest of time. Chazal tell us, it's because it's supposed to be a experience that can't be duplicated. So no other religion or any other can ever claim the same legitimacy, or no other Torah can ever claim legitimacy. Okay.
I think we once said this could technically add on to the Torah if it's given with the same conditions.
That's what would have to be, right? But the Rambam says it won't happen. It won't happen. No, that's the. I say those shittas that hold, like the Sefer Ikrim, the Torah, that God Himself, if He wants to, can change the Torah. The only way to convince us that that's legit and it's not a guy making up, He would have to duplicate the conditions of Ma'amad Ar Sinai. The Ram holds that won't happen anyway. We believe even God Himself won't change the Torah. All right, so which means the Ma'amad Ar Sinai will be never duplicated ever. But Bimshoch HaYovel Hema Yalu Bahar, there was no Isser HaGabola after Ma'amad Ar Sinai was over. And Ad hayom hazeh, even if we know where the real Har Sinai is, there would be no problem going up there. All right. All right. So
so isn't this the Shalom Kitchen loss?
Yeah. So the Kedusha Rishona.
Why is the Kedusha Rishona remains forever? Why? So it doesn't have to do with the fact that the Lukas are buried there. Because Baruch was once there. No, that can't be because Har Sinai would be, right?
Yeah, so I mean, wherever Kedusha are, the Kedusha's Harabais, that's forever. The Kedusha that there was, my Ma'amad Ar Sinai was over. Ever since the Shekhinah doesn't dwell there anymore. Right.
The Shekhinah still dwells in.
That's right.
The Makom HaMikdash?
There's a Rosh, yeah. So that's the point that we're getting to.
But it has nothing to do with the fact that things are buried there.
Where?
In the Harabais,
I didn't hear that. It happens to be true that there are things in Kenisa down there.
Still buried there.
Yeah, but I didn't understand that that's the reason, because the Dafka where it's buried, those mechilot, those tunnels, don't have Kedushas Harabais. The tunnels are chulin. As far as I know, the subterranean tunnels are not don't have Kedushas HaMikdash. But so the thing is like this, as we know from Ma'amad Ar Sinai, Nafshi Yatza B'Dabro, the pasuk says, my soul went out. It's pasuk Shorshim, where Chazal say was about Ma'amad Ar Sinai that no one was able to stay alive when they heard the Dibros Mipi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right, so that says it all, right? That the Ma'amad Har Sinai was Kedusha too big to integrate. Way too big for Am Yisrael to hold. Right? Now, what's not integrated does not leave an impression because there was no connection. Right? So the Kedusha of Ma'amad Har Sinai, parallel to the fact that Har Sinai is a desert. And the desert is a place where people don't live. Right? The whole experience was otherworldly. And otherworldly means as in not in this world, not integrated. And that's the big difference between the Sinai and the Mikdash. Sinai may have been the greatest revelation that there ever was and ever will be of divinity, but Ma'amad Har Sinai is not something that we can, that we can internalize fully. I mean, there is a certain degree of emuna pshuta that Am Yisrael gained from it, right? But the full measure of the kedusha is not integrated, right? And that's the pshat was given in the desert, right? The function of what Eretz Yisrael is and the Makom Mikdash is, because that's where it started with the Mishkan, but the Mishkan was a precursor, Mishkan in the desert, right? But where but the Mishkan is the idea of putting the kedusha in kalim and internalizing the kedusha. So even if that kedusha is less, right? But it's the kedusha that you have a grasp on and that you could internalize, right? And that's the function of Eretz Yisrael and the Makom HaMikdash, which is the final resting place of the Shekhinah. That's where it goes into Kalim and it's internalized. Right? Just like Am Yisrael dropped dead, right, by Ma'amad Har Sinai. Right? What's life? Life is when the neshama is misyashev b'guf, right? When the neshama is settled in the body. That's life. Right? About Rishayim, it says Rishayim afilu b'chayehem kruyim mesim. Why is that? Because the real life comes from the neshama, your spiritual life. Right? The besod vatim hadveikim b'Hashem elkeichem chayim kulchem hayom, that comes from your neshama. Russia, his neshama is not settled in his body. It's not settled there. That's why I feel b'chayim kruyim mesim. Right? So he has a neshama, but it's not integrated with his body because the neshama wants avodas Hashem and his body is doing something else. By the Russia. By the tzaddik, afilu b'misasam kriyim chayim, because the neshama was integrated with the body. So even when the neshama leaves, there's still a rosham in the guf. That's right. And just like where the Shekhinah was integrated in the Harabayis, even though the Bayis was nechrav, there's still a rosham of kedusha over there, and that's why we're not allowed to go up there adayom hazeh if we're tamei meis. That's besora. Tzaddikim feel b'misasam kruyim chayim. It's a parallel concept. That's when the kedusha is integrated. Where the kedusha is integrated, it's internalized and leaves a permanent rosha. So even when chorban habayis or by the adam he dies, the tzaddik who dies, either so I feel b'misasam kruyim chayim, and even by the base of even b'chorbana shechina lo zaza mimkayma. Right. Okay. Okay. So,
the Shekhinah is still there?
There's a roshim of the Shekhinah. That there's an aspect of Shekhinah that Shekhinah begalusa. There's an aspect of Shekhinah that's still there. There's both lashonos in Chazal. There's Shekhinah begalusa. There's also lashon Chazal. And we have Shin China lo zaza mimkayma. There's two, and both are true. It's like we say, there's the tzaddik afil b'misasakrim chaim. Of course, the neshama by and large was mistalik to heaven, but there's still a rosham called the havla, the garme, the heat of the bones, that's still there. That's why he's called even alive in his death. And what's the nafkamina? Besides the fact that body is guaranteed to come back by tchias hamesim. But Chazal say another thing, that if you learn the Torah of that tzaddik, even the lips in the grave move when you learn his Torah. He's still alive because of the roshim that the neshama left there. But that's when it's integrated. Right? Mara said Am Yisrael died. Right? Excuse me?
Parcha nishmasam.
Right, Parcha nishmasam. Means they couldn't internalize it. Right? They couldn't internalize it. Now, of course, there was a certain aspect of emuna that got internalized. That the Rambam says. In the Igeres Teiman, the Rambam says any Jew that voluntarily fried out ever, shalo ba'onis lo omdu avosav al Har Sinai. Right, so it did leave a certain roshim, but bedake dakus. Right. Now we're going to talk about.
So where were her avosav exactly?
What?
And according to that, where were their fathers? If not Har Sinai, Erev Rav.
Erev Rav. So that's Ramosh Shapiro. I discussed actually
Shari.
And that Ramosh Shapiro says so it means Erev Rav, and the Erev Rav he tells to the Ramban that the Erev Rav weren't allowed to be at the foot of the mountain; they were in the bleachers. They had to be behind the real Jews, whatever. Now, of course, Obama's integrating everybody, and to make the Erev Rav in front, and the natural Jews in the back, right? But but Obama wasn't leading the Jewish people back then, right? So,
He still isn't.
yeah. But anyway, to get to the point, so the question, begs the question. Therefore, in light of what we're saying, that the next step is to work on integration and internalization, and that's the theme of Parshas Naso, Chanukas HaMishkan. The theme of Chanukah, inaugurating, says in Svarim, like Chanoch Lanar al Pi Darko, Chinuch, just like Chinuch, you put the ore of Torah in the kalim of the Talmud. It's also in the big picture to put the Shechina into the kalim of the Bayis and the Klei HaMikdash. It's also called Chinuch. Just like Chinuch, you put the ore HaTorah and Chanoch Lanar al Pi Darko, Gam Ki Yazkin Lo Yasur Mimena. Why Gam Ki Yazkin Lo Yasur Mimena? Because Chanoch Lanar al Pi Darko, you make it integrated, and you do it his way that he could relate to, he's going to stick with it. It's internalized. Gam ki asking when he gets old. Lo yasur mimena. Because integrated. Right? So just like that, that's in the individual. And in the cosmic, putting the ore of Ma'amad Har Sinai into the kalim of... Right? Right, that's Lashon Chazal.
I was trying to think of the Lashon.
Right. So the... Right. Want an ice cold one?
I saw you trying.
Ice cold.
Ice
cold.
I got the monkey shoulder over
And
here.
I tried also. I was like thinking of you're on with.
Right. This one's ice cold.
I knew
But my
I
answer
with you.
takes me 20 minutes. Yours it take you 1 second.
Ice cold. Anyway,
Nothing comes quickly now. It's like crazy. Ice cold is good. Just trying to mix the ice cold in.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
As it's worth it. Yes, sir. So the whole theme of Parshas Naso is about integrating the ore. Right? So now it begs the question, why it was done this way. There's Ma'amad Har Sinai, and then there's B'niyas HaMishkan, which is one of the central themes of this week's parsha, Chanukas HaMishkan, putting the ore into the kelim. That's what sanctified the mikdash. Put the Shechina in the kelim of the confines of the Mishkan. And there's we can easily explain how all the other topics of the parsha relate to this theme. But I more want to focus on why HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it this way. He separated Ma'amad Har Sinai in the desert, and then we have the Binyan HaMishkan, which was really a precursor, because it wasn't the base olamim of Yerushalayim, the final resting place of where the Shekhinah should always be, Kavua. That's why any place where the Mishkan once stood, there's also no halacha of Kedusha in that place, because the Mishkan once stood there. It's only the base olamim in Yerushalayim, that chosen place. So the question is, why was it divided? Or why not go straight on integration? But the truth is like this: that we have to understand something, right? That the original light, right, is something above and beyond anything we could ever reach on our own. Right? The original Ratzon to create the world, the original Bereshis B'Shvil Yisrael Shni Koreshis B'Shvil Atar Shni Koreshis, which is what gets renewed on Shavuos. We get chosen because we get the Torah, the two Reshis. We become the Koresh Yisrael Hashem Reish Vaso and Bereshis B'Shvil Atar Shni Koreshis. That's what's renewed on it. The original thought that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us is like the same Ratzon with which He created the world. There's no cause and effect over there. God initiated it, so it comes directly from God's omnipotence. God wants because God wants. There's nothing higher than that. Right? That's rooted in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's pure Ratzon. Right? That is Him. And that's where we have such a strong shirish. Right? Now, of course, there's no putting that into Kalim. Right? There's no putting that into Kalim. That's God's pure omnipotence. Right? That's what our shorish is. Right? But the ore that we could put into Kalim, right, is something that's commensurate and congruent to what we are. It's relatable. But we have to understand that the relatable light is a hemshech of this light that's above and beyond wherever we could ever reach with our own efforts. To understand that this unbelievable ore that comes from pure Ein Sof went from Madrega to Madrega to Madrega until it became on a scale that we could integrate, which means that it's a lifeline all the way up to the Ein Sof.
It becomes finite, you're saying?
No, but that's only seemingly finite. Seemingly finite.
It's divisible, that means.
It's not divisible. It's a continuum. Right? Now let's take it from another angle.
Kind of like a spectrum. On the bottom, the light is very weak, and then on the top, the light is very strong. But in between,
Yes.
it changes its strength.
But it's an amazing lifeline, because as the light, as it were, seemingly, lamaris ayin on the apparel was, for lack of a better word, diluted to the point that it's something that is on our scale that we could integrate. Right? That also gave us avodah to do. Right? Because part of that, of lessening the light was to create, as it were, the facade that there are chisronos in the bria that we have to fix. And that way we could work, we could earn our keep, and this shorish that we have from HaKadosh Baruch Hu won't be nahama de kisufa. So it's a lifeline in an amazing way. That it's a lifeline that doesn't pull you from behind. It's a lifeline that you could feel proud of yourself on your end and face the Shechina panim el panim, even though that thing that you're facing is far bigger than what you could have ever reached on your own effort. But since you worked from your end, so from on your end, you're allowed to face the Shechina, as opposed to looking away in embarrassment. Right? You could face the Shechina, even though what this light is connected to is far beyond whatever you could ever attain. So now HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so here's the amazing thing, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants both. He wants us kosher in shorish, right? Above and beyond wherever our maisim could ever reach. Besod Yisrael Olu b'machshava tchila, we're like the first thing God thought of when He wanted to create the world. He thought of us first, and then He created the world. Right? The Rebbe Shem doesn't want us to be disconnected from that shoresh, right, and give us a different reality. He wants that the ore of Torah and mitzvahs that we have should be, as it were, an extension of that light, not a different light, not a different relationship. He wants that relationship from the highest point, right? He wants that, and he just wants to now make it, go from process to be relatable, as opposed to creating a different light that's relatable, and we wouldn't have a kesher to the light that's in Shirish. So that's the Indian. HaKadosh Baruch Hu first is Megala, this big light by Mamad Har Sinai, that's totally, irrelatable, right? But he shows
when
you.
You're talking about light. Could you just define what you're talking about?
Light is just
light, this kind of light.
No, light is just
intelligence. Is it what is it? Wisdom?
It's elokus.
Is it knowledge?
It's wisdom and knowledge are just our manifestations that it's mislabish in. Yes, we use or as a mushal.
It's all as a muscle.
Because it's the closest thing we have to saying that's non-physical. Oh, so it's divinity, elokus. Now the elokus is nislavish in a lot of different madregas.
Energy is like light.
No, but
You're saying that Kadosh Baruch Hu could have easily created a separate light
that's relatable.
that's more relatable,
But it
he
wouldn't
didn't want
be-
to do that.
I
He
think-
wanted
I
to
think
be
the
to come from the
best
shorish of himself.
Yes.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the best answer is however you define God in your life. That's what we're talking about.
wherever connection to God.
Whatever connection you have.
On his end, it's pure or Ein Sof. As it goes from Madrega to
The
Madrega.
only connection we have with God is Torah. We don't have another connection.
Right. So, but Torah on his end is pure Ritzono. But then it's Nislabish into Chachmaso, and then Binaso, and then it's Nislabish into Midoisav, Chesed, Kvura, Tiferes, and then it's Nislabish in Shchinaso on earth. It goes through all these different, takes on all these different guises.
This is all within the Torah? Or
Is all within the Torah. The Torah's thought of the whole thing, thought of what it is in Sharish, and thought of what it looks like when it goes from Madrega to Madrega to Madrega. Down to the...
Is the source of Kabbalah in the Torah, or the source of Kabbalah is from a different revelation?
No, the Torah.
But there was a separate revelation of Kabbalah, wasn't there? It wasn't the type of Nevuahs, there was...
I mean, it's all included in the Torah. It's all included in the Torah. It's just the revelations from the Torah. From the Torah.
I'm saying like
his
his
meaning in Torah? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Deeper
Yeah,
meaning
correct.
that's not readily apparent, but
Yes,
it
correct.
has to be a gilui or a
Yes.
to people because they wouldn't normally know it.
Yes.
So this is what we talked about when you had the York side.
Could we assume that much of it was a Kabbalah?
Yeah.
He knew all this Kabbalah.
You know all.
And it got lost in between the time that
Well, it was fine with it, yeah. I mean,
Probably all the predecessors of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai also knew everything.
the Yechidim knew it. Yechidim knew it. There was a little bit of...
And they had the Rishus to publish it in the book, like Chal.
yeah.
No, but in the end, the main source is not the Zohar.
I mean, Zoras, but it was all that ideas were Baal Peh prior to the writing of the Zohar.
And their result?
Same idea.
Things that were not in the Zohar?
No. He said that he's revealing the inner meanings of the Zohar.
That's what he said.
Right. Inner meanings of the Zohar that other generations between him and they didn't know. Inner meanings in the Zohar. Right. Right. But our point is like this. We have a kesher with Hakadosh Baruch Hu that's above and beyond what we could reach. But that shoresh goes from Madrega to Madrega to Madrega to become a relatable light, a relatable, but it's still connected to its original state. That means that what we do, that we could relate to, is connected to the light that's above and beyond what we could ever relate to. It's all connected. It's a hemshech. Right? And that's what it means. The Radziner says is the pshat in the pasuk. Hashem chafetz leman tzidko yagdil Torah v'yadir. That Chazal darshan from that pasuk. Ratz HaKadosh Hu l'zakoso afikach hirbel Torah mitzvahs. So his approach is, he doesn't say exactly these words, but I glean from it is like this. Hashem chafetz, pure God's will. Pure will, right? Which is Ein Sof. Chafetz hu v'ratzon echad, right? But leman tzidko, because he's righteous. He's righteous, and which means two things. First of all, he wants to be good to you, but also he wants to justify himself. Why did he force the Torah on a different nation? Why wasn't Kofehar Kagigas on a different nation? So leman tzidko, tarte mashma. Because he wants to be good to you, and because he also wants to justify himself, be matzdik himself. In front of Yagdil Torah v'yadir, that's why Hirbalim Torah mitzvahs. Right, the deed of Torah and mitzvahs, that we do mitzvahs with guf, right, is to mamish make the Torah, relatable to the body level. That even the guf could be involved in divrei Torah, not just the seichel, not just with the seichel with limud Torah, but even the guf could be kosher to this or of Torah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's good to you when he does that, because he made the light, this great light, in a way that you can integrate, and therefore you should be glad that there's Taryag mitzvahs and not less, because that way the whole of the body, because Taryag connected to Ramak Kavar Gidim, right? Everything is connected to Or HaTorah.
Does he justify himself?
No, so he justified this because Am Yisrael's Am Yisrael is dogged and determined to do the mitzvahs, what no other nation would be. So it says the word justifies the fact that he forced the Torah on Am Yisrael and not the other nations, because they wouldn't take their mitzvahs as seriously. Okay, so the Matziko Yagdil Torah v'Yadir, as it were, he made the Torah bigger because the Torah was or, but now he expanded it, as it were, to take on, in addition to its innate state of pure divinity, take on the state of mitzvahs ma'asios. Right? And that's Leman Tzidko, right? To show that Am Yisrael is a nation that was worthy of God choosing, right? But also for the sake of Am Yisrael, because this makes the light relatable, right? And you need a lot of mitzvahs connected the whole of the tselem of the Odom, right? That everything should be connected to the light of Torah. So, in other words, like this, Mamad Sinai is the Gili of Torah B'Shorsha, and Torah B'Shorsha is above Olam Hazeh. That's why it had to happen in the desert, which is not really part of Olam Hazeh, and that light was totally unrelatable. But HaKadosh was making you aware that the mitzvahs that you're going to start keeping, right? When you reach Earth, and Earth is Eretz Yisrael, it's how we re-entered Earth. The Midbar, we weren't living on Earth. It's like the Midbar is not civilized area. During the time of Midbar, we weren't living natural lives. It was the Mun and the Be'er and all Anane HaKavod. But a lot of the mitzvahs ma'asios only went into effect when we entered the land of Israel. Right? A lot of the Parshat Torah like Kisavo La'aretz. Right? But that's where the Kedusha then became integrated. It became integrated in Eretz Yisrael, and that's the unique school of why it's called, it's called Eretz HaChaim, like Nishmas Chaim. It could absorb Kedusha, like a body could absorb a neshama, right? Chutz La'aretz can't absorb Kedusha that way, even though God is everywhere, and the Shechina is, even His divine presence is everywhere. The Sod Va'ata Machayas Kulam, but that Kedusha is not integrated with Chutz La'aretz. In Eretz Yisrael, it's integrated, it's absorbed. That's why it's called Eretz HaChaim, right? And there's Eretz Yisrael B'chlal, and there's Yerushalayim B'frat, and that's the Ikra Makom of where all the Taryag mitzvahs apply, because not all the mitzvahs apply in Chutz La'aretz. That's where.
Could absorb Kedusha.
That's correct.
For that reason, all the Batik
Oh, excellent.
This house is going to be moved to Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right. No, but it's true. No, Tzvi is right. Because it becomes, there has to be annexed to Eretz Yisrael, because any place that absorbs Kedusha belongs there. Because that's where Kedusha is integrated. But HaKadosh first wants to reveal, you should know that this, seemingly this relatable Kedusha that's sort of dilute, and it's nislabish in Meisin. Right? And, it's a machlokes, but, even though it's not the highest madrega, mitzvah ain't tzrichas kavana. Mitzvahs in Maisa, in Tzrichas Kavana, at least we're choshesh for that mandama. It doesn't even need Kavana, and you could still be Yotze. So Kilu, it's even with Silu Kadas, so it's like seemingly a very low-grade Kedusha. Even, of course, it's not the preferred way. You should do with a lot of machshava invested, right? So you might think that this light that's nislabish in mitzvahs, right, it's not the real stuff. It's not the real divinity. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to show us what we really got, what Torah looks like as we're on His end, and that's the shorish, that it's a lifeline that reaches all the way up to this high shorish of pure Elokus that we can never relate to, right? So by Mamar saying, He made us aware of the shorish, right? The root of Torah. Torah's mamish gili Elokus besod Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Torah is rooted in me, like Chazal say. Anochi is nutrikun ana nafshoy. I took myself, I wrote myself down, I gave myself over. And He showed us the shorish of Torah. Shorish of Torah is above and beyond where anybody could reach. Right? But then, after that, he gave us a Mishkan, and He gave us mitzvahs, as it were, to dilute that ore, to be relatable. But that wasn't like a different light. That's not the real stuff. No, it's the same stuff. Just went midarga ladarga.
But the Torah itself again. The Torah is at the highest level, isn't it? The Torah itself again. What?
Yeah, yeah.
Anything? Where is
Yeah, but the gili of.
It's a level of Torah that's below the real level of the highest level of Torah.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
There's many different madrigas.
That's right. Torah. It's all one Torah. That's what I said. It's all one Torah. What Torah, it's the Torah that's the way it looks like God. The Torah else, it's all the same Torah that just takes on many faces as it transverses through the different dimensions. But it's all the same Torah. It's rooted in God's pure.
So what the malachim.
So now listen, that's what it means. Mitzvahs betelos lasid level. The Torah is not supposed to change. So in my Sefer on the Gimel Ikrim, we discussed this. The Torah is not supposed to change. Right? So why is mitzvahs only for 6,000 years? Because, how Torah is nislabish in mitzvahs, that's temporary. But the etzem or HaTorah is unchanging. Marshal Ma Davar Doimed, just a simple example that the Rambam himself gives. Let's say killing out Amalek. Right, that's supposed to be for all. That's supposed to be forever. What happens when you finally are successful and you killed every single Amaleki?
When is the mitzvahs done? When are we done with the mitzvahs?
The year 6,000.
And what happens at that time?
The world gets shut down for renovations.
So then, of course, there's no mitzvahs. Then there's no mitzvahs.
Yeah, but why is it
There are no people.
Yeah, but then starts Olam Haba.
Prior to the time the Torah was given to us, Torah existed. It's infinite. It's
Right.
forever. So
It just proves that mitzvahs is just a phase.
I mean, as long as there's no human beings on the earth, there's nobody to do mitzvahs. The monkeys don't do mitzvahs.
No, I'm not saying,
So-
but so there's going to be Olam Haba afterwards. We're all going to go to Olam Haba.
You mean
There's no mitzvahs. No mitzvahs in Olam Haba.
There will be guf.
Even like we Pascal,
You're
there'll
talking
be
about
go after Tchis HaMesim in
Nobody
Olam
will do
Haba.
mitzvahs.
That's
Instead,
right.
what are we going to be doing? Hanging around?
Just nene miziv tzadikim yoshim
Are we going to be drinking?
atorosem barosheim v'nene mezeh shchina.
Yeah, but
Nene miziv hashchina.
Sudas Livyasan.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, but the Leviathan is not a real thing, is it?
No, it's a spiritual Suda, right?
Okay, so the whole thing is different. It's only
No, the whole thing is different, but it's
this
not called that the
aspect of
Torah
Torah.
change. It's called that's the same Torah. Just you move to a higher revelation of it.
These are things.
So it's not called that the Torah changed.
So what do the malachim want
By the
then?
human mind.
What was their whole argument?
No, that's just the opposite. This explains where they're coming from. Torah could have Torah could have a revelation, where mitzvahs are irrelevant. But Moshe Rabbeinu's argument was that
They wanted what? They wanted the Torah that was maluvish in the mitzvahs? Is that what they wanted?
they didn't want
They
that.
didn't want that.
Not. So Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, but if
they wanted to end the light by them. They said they
that's right,
keep on going
it shouldn't
down.
go down to earth. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, if we.
So it has to have a different meaning.
That's why he said, "Tna hodcha ala shamayim." Put your glory on heaven, not on earth. When Moshe Rabbeinu won the debate, so the Malachim admit Hashem Ma dir shimcha b'chol haaretz.
Wow.
That's actually the question. So,
Beautiful.
Rabbi, so
Yeah,
he's saying, so the conversation between Alachim and Moshe Rabbeinu, the argument,
right. So they said, "Tna hodcha ala shamayim." Stop the or from there. They shouldn't go lower. When Moshe Rabbeinu won the debate, so they said, "Asher
bring it all
Deinu
the way down.
Ma dir shimcha b'chol haaretz." No, mitzvahs is a great thing that it brings the ore of Torah all the way down to the
but
Oretz.
shouldn't there be Geneva on level 2?
But when the Oretz ascends to the Madrega of Shamayim,
Low signal.
Well, saying there should be some sort of form, let's say on higher up on
right,
on
mitzad the Iris, mitzad
So
the divine lights.
They would have had a response then.
Yeah,
How come
but
they were stumped? Because it does translate.
so
into
no,
something.
because their argument was to
No,
know
yeah.
Chal Shamayim.
Meaning it's a misconception to
Asher
say.
de Marshot to know Chal Shamayim. Moshe Rabbeinu says, but wait a minute, you don't. The mitzvahs ma'asiyos don't apply to you. So then they were moed Hashem Adonenu Ma Adir Shimcha B'chol Haaretz.
But it's still part of the Torah, though. It's still part of the Torah.
It would have different meaning. It would have different manifestation.
Right, it just right. So they
But
could have answered.
Same divine
They
lights,
could have answered that.
just a different application.
Exactly.
So wait,
So it's
their
the same Torah.
argument.
It's the same Torah. Could have been
It's the same Torah.
So it could have been against Malachim.
their-
Could have been,
their-
but
their
it would go,
argument-
but the divine light would have not made it down here.
Right.
In other words, their argument was never that we should get the Torah and not Bnei Yisrael. They were just saying we don't want Torah to go all the way down to Bnei Yisrael.
Right.
Right.
Meaning they have Torah. They do have Torah. That's
But what
Well,
does the
is
Torah
that-
mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it's
What
not
does
means
the Torah
Torah means
mean?
something else to them because
I heard so many different kinds of
like shipping
So
planning on
it's
Torah.
a scroll.
What's the
Say something.
I don't know if you can know what Torah means to them.
Yeah.
Torah is a Torah.
No, but what we just know, the idea in general is they would enjoy the divine light of Torah, and mitzvahs masiyas wouldn't apply to them. But Moshe Rabbeinu was arguing it would be a cosmic tragedy because the Or HaTorah wouldn't reach all the way down to Olam Hazeh. It wouldn't be Ma'adir Shimcha B'chol Haaretz. Right?
Right.
Yeah, but when Oretz will become B'madregas Shamayim, so that's when Mitzvahs Betels, Hasi Lovel. Because this Madrega...
I'm not saying it's not, it just takes on a different
It's
form.
unobserved.
That's right.
Unobserved.
That's why it's not a violation of the Rambam's
It
ninth
becomes,
principle of
dormant. It
faith
becomes dormant.
that Torah will never change.
Wait, what has to happen?
It's the
for that
same
to
Torah.
It's been dormant on levels higher up also right,
Yeah.
right now. This is where it's active. This is where it's
Yeah,
alive.
correct, exactly.
Well,
And that's and at this level, it's called Leman Tzidko Yadil Torah V'Yadir.
The word is metamorphosis. There's a metamorphosis in the Torah where it forms a different...
Well, metamorphosis kind of implies change, though.
No,
It's
Right.
not changing,
It's not
though.
changing.
Metamorphosis,
That's what it
this
looks like there, and
becomes
that's what it
that.
looks like there.
This becomes that.
Oh.
It's
like
not
a butterfly in the
movement.
butterfly in
I mean,
the
it's the
cocoon
same
No, but it's
thing
there.
that
It's
doesn't
there. It's just dormant.
that changes into a butterfly
It
from
just changes. It's
a
still the butterfly before and the
It's
butterfly
there.
after. It just changed it to a different form.
Right. So that's it.
The butterfly Marsa was
That's it. So Ma'amad Arseh was the Megala the Shoresh, right? Parshas Naso and all that's showing where the Torah reaches down to in order to become integrated with us. But we have to understand that it's all the same light. It's a hemshech. That from the Shoresh Hanelam all the way down to relatable, and it's one continuum. That I could have a kinyan in this light that the other end of it is maush. I can never reach there on my own effort. But of course, Leman Tzidko, Yagdil Torah V'Yadir, let the orator be mislabish in mitzvahs ma'asiyas.
But the ultimate purpose is that we should
No,
be able to
no,
go
no.
back
Oh,
up there.
right. It'll drag you up. But since it dragged you up, al zeh open that it first went down to your level, you have a real legitimate kinyan in it. That when it pulls you up, you won't be embarrassed to look the Shechina in the.
So, can I ask a question on this? The whole concept of Nami Supa has always bothered
Okay.
me.
Thank you, Rav Tzvi.
If I-
Shkoyach.
If I ask you, like, if I
Shkoyach, Rav Tzvi. Shkoyach, Rav Tzvi.
if I let's say need a task done, and I say, okay,
Yeah, you brought a jacket. It's.
I need you to clean this table, and the payment back is I'm going to give you that Lamborghini that I have
You guys
outside.
ever go to sleep?
We're just starting here.
You gotta go to work tomorrow, no? Yeah, you gotta work tomorrow.
Oh, I do. Yes.
Yeah,
Believe me.
I go to work whenever I feel like it.
Believe me. Right, I feel like a yeshiva bacher. You know? That's the...
And kidding me, I am a yeshiva buffer. Not in yeshiva, but
So if I ask you to do like a small task,
Right.
and like let's say to clean the table, whatever,
Right.
and in exchange I'm going to give you my Lamborghini outside. How's that not considered Nami Supa?
Right. Well, so that this yesod that we're saying actually answers it, because what I did give you to do happens to be connected all the way up to.
Uh-huh.
So you're right. From your end it looks like Sa'i, but the thing is that the easy thing for you to do was connected to.
You said that again? Were you just explaining why we'd be embarrassed?
Well, we're not
like
being,
the whole idea of Nami Supa. Like we do misses, so we're
Yeah.
not embarrassed. But I'm saying the reward that we're getting is like so much more
Then
the
what-
effort that we're putting in.
Right.
It's saying like it's like
Right.
saying like, okay, here, clean up the table. Okay,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
in exchange, I'm gonna give you like a.
Okay, bang. But what?
So he's saying that it's because that little thing is not really a little thing.
Right.
It's a connection
Right.
to the
You can see it.
right.
to the higher
But
source.
would we Taka really be embarrassed? Like, what's? No, I'll take it.
If not for
You
the
know?
fact, if not for the fact that you worked on your end, yeah, then you would be embarrassed. But since I have a Kenyan
It's a
in
big
the
deal.
aspect of the
Everybody
light that
has
made
it.
it down to me, so I could, and so I could face God, and then I get dragged up right to Him.
I forgot the one with
All the
the play with the perm stuff.
forms. Big Vivaldi. I gotta see who won this game.
Let me find the book of that monk.